Hey everybody, welcome to yet another episode of Back to the Light. I am your host, JD Reager, and with me for this episode is old friend Eric Friedl.
Hey!
What's up, man?
Oh, just getting ready for Gonerfest.
Yeah, that's why we're here, I assume.
I hope so, yeah. We could talk a little Gonerfest. That sounds cool.
We missed doing the Gonerfest preview last year, and I guess I should apologize for that.
Well, we're making up for it this time.
Yes. How was last year?
Last year was amazing. We had a early sellout, I think, maybe because people were excited about the OCs, maybe because the year previous was so good. But it was a wild time, and we had settled into Railgarten a little bit more as our main venue. Railgarten got used to us, and we really, overall, no complaints. It's a long 4-day festival with over 30 bands, and it's going to be grueling to some extent and always exciting, and so we're just, this year's a little different. We still have tickets available, which is kind of cool. We always actually try to have tickets available for people that can't plan 9 months ahead of time to be here. So that's a good thing. And people in Memphis, I think, don't realize what's going on until, the month of, a lot of times.
They say it's a walk-up town.
That's while they're waiting at 10 minutes past when the show is supposed to start.
You hear that a lot in wrestling, especially. It's a walk-up town.
Yeah. It's a If you put on anything in Memphis, you're going to hear that. That's it. I mean, we've got great weather while we're doing this today. Hoping that carries through. We've got the bands, we got the fans, the weather cooperates. We got it made.
Got the tools and the talent.
Well, yeah, I think so.
How soon after last year's festival do you guys start digging into planning what would become or will become this year's festival?
Before the festival starts, we used to be able to wait until the middle of the year to really book everything and get everybody. Because a lot of the time, and still, people will come to us pretty late and say, hey, we're going to be in the area. Can we play? And it's somebody that you really don't want to pass up. So it's nice to have that flexibility. At the same time, people are booking their schedules for the year, 9 months out. And we have to pick the dates early. Bands that we might have wanted to have play this one that couldn't do it, we say, how about next year? So they work on their tour schedule. We work on, penciling them in. So it's kind of a nonstop wheel of bands booking and scheduling.
And I mean, how many people are working on this? I mean, I know it's you and Zach, but I mean, how many other staff members are being consumed by?
Just me and Zach.
Really?
Yeah, no. So, yeah,
I'm an easy mark. You can convince me of a lot.
We get to be top bananas that do little, and the less we, it's just like whenever the boss shows up, everything goes to hell. So the more we stay out of the way, the better things run in general.
Did you have any difficulty, letting go of the reins because I know it was probably a very small staff in the beginning.
I mean, it's always it still is a small staff. Parts of it have expanded. But in general, when, it did expand from the High Tone side, which is, maybe 500 people, to Railgarten, which is 1,500 people.
It was the Buck.
And the Buck, yeah. So, yeah, me and Zach might have done most. I mean, we still didn't do everything at the Buck with one tiny room and one stage. We still had our Goner crew were still there lugging amps and PAs and taking tickets and everything. So the live stream is a major undertaking. Brent Shrewsbury and Alec McIntyre coordinate that. We have all the cameramen and editors and directors, and people that help set up all the wiring and everything. Cole Wheeler is kind of in charge of artist liaisons. He's been doing kind of the entry, taking tickets and over merch, and we've kind of got more people to help with that this year. We've brought people in from Austin that have experience with bigger festivals, helping with the stage and helping with logistics for ticketing and that kind of thing. So it has expanded. It's very easy to give up control, give up whatever, when you know that people are going to take care of it, and you can worry about just making sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I don't think it's always easy. There's a thing called founder syndrome where, people who
for sure
create things have difficulty passing the torch.
I have that for other things, but Gonerfest has always kind of been a collaboration between the people that come here and the bands and us. So it's always kind of been that way. I mean, one year we didn't have a back line for the Murphys stage, and a band from Sweden that was on tour, Denmark that was on tour. I was like, we've got all this equipment, we don't need it, let's put it on stage, and it's like they were more than happy to help make everything work. And that's kind of been the spirit of the festival the whole time. That's the benefit of being small and being friends with everybody, and not as all out professional as a larger stage would be, a larger festival.
Could you see Gonerfest growing beyond what it is currently?
I mean, I think we could book a bigger festival. We don't really want to be a bigger festival. This size is perfect for us and the people that come to these kind of things. I think appreciate that. You get into this weird thing where, and I'm sure other festivals are like this, Hopscotch and other places just kind of book interesting acts and not necessarily the biggest act going right now to sell tickets. And you can sell tickets just because people know it's a good time. And once you start, if you book an act that is not necessarily it's bigger than your festival, you bring in people that might not necessarily know or appreciate the rest of it, and it just kind of brings in other elements. So we're not really ready to go there. We like the size and the kind of acts that want to play here. The budget is tough. Every band is having a harder time touring, and festivals are kind of their payday. And we're not at the level of other festivals to be able to be like, justify them flying from Europe or, even flying in from America. So there's definitely challenges being small, but we like where we're at right now.
What kind of considerations? I mean, there's some obvious ones like, timing and tour routing and budget, which you mentioned. But other kind of considerations that might go into booking the festival, like musical diversity or balance of local and non-local talent, are those kind of things on your mind as well?
For sure. We have people that want all one thing all the time, and then they're, we like that and also are wary of that, and it's a long festival. So, if you're going from noon till 11 at night, having everybody sound like Motorhead, will get old. If you throw a funk band in the middle of that, everybody will enjoy it, or they'll get a chance to go get a hamburger and sit down for a second, So I think we're always conscious of trying to incorporate Memphis bands, incorporate different aspects of whatever kind of music scene that we're representing, and not have it all one thing of, four white guys up there yelling for, 10 hours a day.
Nothing wrong with that. But
nothing wrong with that. We definitely enjoy that too.
Have you ever felt any pressure, whether it was as a festival or maybe even as like a label or even in the store, to be more Memphis centric and more representative of like the complete scene of Memphis and not just your piece of it?
For sure. It's it's a tricky balance of doing things that we enjoy, and we believe in, and being representative. And I've never really thought that it's our place to be the Memphis label. You know, I started out putting out things that I thought no one else would release, and we're not really in that spot anymore. But it's still not necessarily trying to be representative of all things to all people. And it's our taste and it's our label flavor, and getting too diverse, even though we've put out a lot of different things, I think you kind of lose something. So we are conscious of it. How much we actually do it, I don't know, you know, and it's we definitely like a variety of different music, and I think the label has kind of shown that. But yeah, we haven't really felt the need to be all inclusive for everything, you know, and leave that to other people to be their specialty, you know, or fill in the gap. If they think there's something that we're not doing, you know, go to it. You know, we support all kinds of things, especially Memphis.
Yeah, I always felt, even when I was doing stuff like Makeshift or Rock for Love that was not really, you know, up Gunner's alley per se, I always felt like you guys were supportive of that, even if it wasn't your thing.
For sure. I mean, we love anything happening in Memphis is better than nothing happening in Memphis. And it's so hard to do things here. People are great, but it is just hard to get beyond the people that you know are going to show up to the thing, you know?
People are great.
Yeah. I mean, so we, yeah, but yeah, we're always supportive of that stuff to the extent that we can be. You know, it's like people will come in and say, "Hey, I'm putting out a CDR. Will you take 100 of them?" We're like, "We have 5 people that might want it. We'll take 5." You know, we can't take 100. So, you know, we got to be realistic too.
You mentioned that you're getting more comfortable in the venue of Railgarten. So I want to ask you, because your partnership with them was kind of born out of the pandemic, right? You needed an outdoor space.
Yeah.
Did you just assume that after that first year there that you'd just be going back to the High Tone or wherever?
Don't know. I mean, we did not know, because we didn't know if the pandemic was going to be an ongoing thing. Really, once we were there and we realized how well it worked, we were not thinking about going back. We loved having multiple venues, getting people to Murphy's and the Buck when the Buck was around, doing outdoor shows on the gazebo. But the logistics of moving, having equipment and stages set up, and moving everybody around town, once you got to the numbers that we were doing at Railgarten, stopped being realistic. And it just worked so well at Railgarten, including their staff and the way that they ran everything, all the problems that we anticipated. For the most part, we didn't have any. So it was like, this is working. Why change it? You know.
How many more people can you get into Railgarten than you could, say, the High Tone and Murphy's or
like 1,000 more people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it changed the kind of headliners that we could do, you know, the bands like the OCs or the Mummies or somebody that actually needs to get paid to get in. We're paying for hotel rooms and flights and everything. So having that extra amount of money from that many people really helped out.
Is there anything that you miss from the old kind of grimier, more low budget days?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the what we always talk about Railgarten afternoons, especially the Sunday show, is it's like the Murphys Saturday afternoon show, which was always a really special show. you kind of look at it like, oh my God, I'm not going to go up there at noon and go see 10 bands in 5 hours or whatever we had going, 2 stages, and everything. But it was always a highlight every year, just being able to hang out outside and talk to people. And Memphis people would come to that show that might not want to be stuck in a sweaty box, all night long till three in the morning. So we definitely miss that. We do miss being stuck in a sweaty box till 3 in the morning. There's some really insane stuff that wouldn't happen on an outdoor stage that happened in a black box, So,
Well, the same is true the other way too. You don't get the weirdo from Memphis climbing on top of the high
yeah,
tone.
for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it goes both ways. We do miss the intimacy of the high tone and Murphy's and the Buccaneer especially. But yeah, we've moved on to the next thing. And the one thing about having it outside is that the shows have to end at 11, so the after parties can start at 11:30 rather than 3 in the morning, which they were doing at the High Tone when we had it at the High Tone. So the after parties kind of turned into people getting into the smaller venues and still getting out of there, at a time where they could catch some rest before the festival the next day.
Have you ever considered trying to do like the multi-stage thing at Railgarten? I was going to say that's the one thing I sort of missed, those afternoon where it's just like rapid fire, inside stage, outside stage, bang, 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 bang.
When we first were trying to set everything up, we thought about doing it that way, and just having 2 stages and trying to live stream it and everything.
Oh yeah.
Just created a little bit more logistics. Not that we couldn't do it, but we tried it out the way we did it, and the bands and our stage people are so good at getting people off stage that we can change over in 15 minutes. It's like 20 to 30 minute set, 15-minute changeover, and it just keeps going. And any faster would probably wear everyone out, So we did consider it. We might do it sometime if it makes sense. If there's somebody that is up there with an acoustic guitar or something, and some 20-piece orchestra has to set up the next time, maybe we'll do a little diversion type of thing. But for now, we're set with the one stage.
The streaming thing, that started during the pandemic as well?
Yeah, this shirt I've got on now, the Gonerfest 17, was the all online. We wanted to do a Gonerfest where people couldn't get out, so we asked people to record sets and send it in. We had New Zealand was
my favorite.
Was still open, so we started here. We had a set that was incredible. If you haven't seen it, we should make it available on the live stream if you get a streaming pass for Gonerfest. Jack Oblivion and the Sheiks played on top of the Crosstown building, and we had drone footage and all kinds of. Shrewsbury did an amazing job shooting that. And then we cut straight to New Zealand, and there were 4 bands, I think, that played live in New Zealand. And then we had a variety of bands from all over the world that did stuff. And yeah, we had no idea if the New Zealand thing was going to work. We was like, and now we're going to New Zealand, and everything worked. So, yeah, it was really fun. And it was, at that time, everybody didn't know what was going on, and everybody's kind of in some weird static panic mode. And getting to see other people doing things was fantastic.
Do you still, are you archiving all the footage and audio that you're filming every year?
We've got it. It's a lot to deal with, we don't exploit it as much as we should, or show it off, is a nicer way to put it. But yeah, we kill ourselves doing high quality live stream, and we've got all these sets archived. So
So what you
someday.
need is an app like all the wrestling companies have, where you can go back and watch all their old pay-per-views.
Yeah, we need to
The
get
Gonerfest
all that
history app.
Yeah, the app is coming. We'll
Get on
pay
that.
pay someone to in a faraway land to create an app for us.
Oh man! So Goner is a three-headed monster. Are there any moments with the festival where, like, what you're trying to do with the store or the label, is that another consideration? Like, we're trying to push this band, so we're trying to get them on the show, trying to help them build an audience. Is that another thing that maybe goes into booking Gonerfest?
For sure. If we've got a band that is touring in September, it would be great for them to have a new record out. And this year we've got two bands that have records out. Split System from Australia we just re-released their first record called Volume 1 that's never come out on a U.S. label. And that is available now, right before Gonerfest. And Montreal band Pi Pi, or Pee Pee, as they like to say. She always gets the giggles.
Sure.
Yeah. Has a record coming out October 18th, but should be available for Gonerfest as well. So the first Gonerfest we set up because we were doing a King Kong and barbecue show and King Louie records, and at the same time we were releasing them at the same time, so we thought it would be great to have those bands in town. So it kind of started off as a label showcase, and we do try to use it to show off bands that have stuff out on Goner, as well as Memphis, and then just other stuff that we care about.
One thing I've always admired about Goner is the tremendous, and I was trying not to use this word, but I guess I have to, synergy of it all. How, like, each project sort of feeds the other. The festival attracts people to the store, and the label feeds talent to the festival, and round and round it goes.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about how the fans are really like a big part of all this. When we first did the first festival, we really didn't. We had the Goner bulletin board that was going on through the 90s, and the first festival was in 2004, and we just kind of talked about it on our website and on the bulletin board, and had no idea that people were going to show up from all over the world and all over the United States. But we already had this community that was into this kind of stuff, and we're looking for something to do, and they're looking for an excuse to come to Memphis, because Memphis really does have an outsized it's bigger than we realize inside Memphis. That people are like, hell yeah, I've always wanted to go to Memphis. That's an excuse. So it's easy. I guess what I'm trying to say is we're not pushing it on people as much as it might seem. Like, oh, they've got a label and they put their own bands in it, and it really does come from just people wanting to be here and bands that want to be here.
Well, I mean, it's called Gonerfest. How could you not put your own bands in it?
Right. But I don't want to go to a label showcase.
Yeah.
I think we're always aware of how it's coming off. And, once it seems like someone's selling you something, it's an immediate turnoff. So,
Gosh, why didn't you? I should have taken note of that for Makeshift so many times. Stop trying to sell stuff.
Well, it does help if you actually sell things, which, if you try, it does help sell things. So we're in the same boat. Maybe we should try to sell things a little bit harder.
Well, let's talk about the lineup.
Yeah.
The headliners first. How did you come about this group of headliners? Derv Gordon, John Spencer, and the Ripoffs?
We had been in contact with Greg Lowry from the Ripoffs, and we had done the Mummies. They're kind of in the same area. Greg was in a band, Supercharger, that was kind of around the same time as the Mummies. So we had been talking, and that seemed to be a natural. And getting them, they'd been doing shows, so getting them out worked out really well. And John Spencer had been on tour a little bit earlier last year, middle of last year maybe, and whenever I see him, he's like, "Man, how come I'm not playing Gonerfest?" And I'm like, "I don't know. We've always talked about it, and this year just everything kind of lined up right, and so that was exciting." And anybody that saw Derv Gordon and So What play at Gonerfest at the High Tone, that place basically levitated that whole set. It was everybody was just jumping up and down. Had I knew the Equals, and I knew that Derv was the singer for the Equals, but I had no idea that it was going to be that exciting and that much fun. The Equals are one of the most fun bands of all time. They have just really catchy, really 4/4 kind of songs that will be stuck in your head forever. And I've seen Derv, got to play with him a couple other times besides Gonerfest, and he's just great. And so that was kind of a natural. They wanted to come back, and it was great to be able to make that happen.
Had John Spencer never played before?
John Spencer has never played before.
I think I remember, didn't he opened for like the Breeders in Memphis at the Daisy, like in 90?
Yeah, no offense to the
95?
Breeders, but he blew the Breeders off the stage.
Were you at that show?
The Breeders took about an hour to come on stage after, for whatever reason, but I always thought it was like, there's no way to follow that set.
I'm a big Breeders fan, but I wasn't at that show for one, so I can't speak to it. But I know that they are not always like the most well organized.
Yeah,
band.
I mean, yeah, I think that's part of the charm, for sure. But that set, the Blues Explosion they were out to kill. And we've got Oneida on Sunday, which is like on Sunday we've it was always kind of we'd throw bands on the gazebo. It was very low key type of outdoor event. And we kept adding bands that were loud and kind of crazier bands mixed with kind of folky kind of roots rock stuff too this year. But we have Oneida as the last band, and Oneida and Chris Walker at Barristers kind of had a relationship. If you follow Chris Walker's blog, he has a great story about booking John Zorn with Kid Millions, the drummer from Oneida, but also booking Oneida in Memphis. And I think they played the Last Place on Earth opening party before it was even in Last Place on Earth. I remember seeing them at, I think it was Martial Arts.
I think Graham Burks is friends with somebody in Oneida.
He is. He hasn't told me that story yet, but he says it's a good one, so I'm looking forward to that. They're an amazing band. They're kind of taken for granted, I think, because they've been so good for so long, and they are going to blow minds, and it's going to be not quite the easy Sunday afternoon. It's going to be really, really fun.
Do you see Sunday as less of a come down day and more of just like a full blown festival day?
For this one, it is. We'll see how we get through it. It's a long festival, so I think the Sunday kind of easy thing works. But there's always people that are just raring to go. The people that come to this thing are not complaining about having too much music. So the more the merrier.
Tell me about the band from Africa, whose name I'm not going to attempt to pronounce
until
you do.
Well, I'll try. I'm sure it's incorrect. Etron de l'Air, maybe. I think it's Angels of the Air. And they played Growlers maybe a year ago, and they completely leveled that place. I mean, they are I think it's 3 guitars, really fun, complex, winding African guitar stuff. It's really rockin'. It's really different than anything else we've ever had, and it's going to be really great.
Which day is that?
That is Saturday,
Okay.
Before the ripoffs. It's really it's kind of the going a bunch of different places that night. So it's really fun. Yeah, I would not miss that. If you could see that, I would definitely recommend it.
And speaking of Graham Burks, isn't Cloudland Canyon on that same day?
Yep, they're opening that day.
And that's not a traditional Gonerey sounding band?
No, but they're all synthesizers and drums and stuff. But we've had a bunch of bands that are leaning towards that way. We've had Benny, who's on Goner, who does kind of sci-fi synth soundscapes type stuff. So it's not without precedent, but yeah, it's a little bit different, and I think it's going to be a really fun way to start the day. They're sounding amazing. I love what Cloudland Canyon's been doing, and it seems like they've got a second wind, and they're really, really killing it right now.
Which day are Jeff and Ross on?
Friday. They are, I believe, first on the Friday, which is going to be another way to really open up your brain to some demented stuff going on. So John Spencer wanted to play on the same day as the Cheater Slicks and Jeff. And at one point it was going to be a semi-Gibson Brothers reunion, which didn't work out. Jeff's partner, Don, couldn't come in to do it. But so all those bands are on the same day, which is going to be amazing. The Cheater Slicks are kind of on a roll too. They've added a bass player and a sax player, and they put out a 45 with that lineup that's unbelievable, kind of like some Subterranean Stooges. It's their own thing. They're a big kind of tumbleweed of guitar noise and yelling, and it's brilliant.
There's actually lots of bands that are kind of unknown to me on this year's lineup. Are there any picks that you want to make that we haven't talked about already?
I would definitely. I just went up to Canada to this festival.
Oh yeah, how was Canada?
It was very weird. It's the Emerging Music Festival in a town whose name I can't pronounce in Quebec, 8 hours northwest of Montreal, in a copper mining town.
8 hours north.
Yes. Beautiful place besides the copper mine, which is very kind of industrial and is giving everyone cancer and stuff in the thing, but maybe as a part of their thing, allegedly giving them cancer. Sure. As a kind of an olive branch, they fund all these festivals there, it seems like. Anyone that knows anything about this, please correct me.
Sorry about the cancer.
Yeah.
Here, enjoy this music festival.
Right. So went up there and I got to see two bands that are playing Gonerfest. Feeling Figures, which is a couple. They put out a record on K Records, and the new record is coming out in September, also on K. And their rhythm section is two of the guys from Retail Simps that played last year, who are fantastic, and they're a real fun indie rock type of band. And then I saw Pi Pi, and they blew me away. They blew everyone that saw them away. The drummer and bass player and singer have been together over a decade probably in this band Duchess Says, that got pretty big in Canada. And the guitar player, Roy Vicino, was in the Sexarinos, Red Mass, a bunch of kind of more garage rock psychedelic bands that more Goner people would probably know. And he's an incredible guitar player, and she is the best front person I've seen since John Brannon, probably. Wow. And she's very watchable and chaotic and cool. So I would definitely see that. Everybody that we book, we're thinking, oh, you got to see this band. Where are we going to put this band? So, it makes sense. And there's, not room for everybody in the prime spots. So they're scattered throughout the festival, and you never know, if you're going to, we put these bands on at 2 p.m, and they should be headlining. When you see them, you're just like, oh my God, this band is so great. But there's just too many bands, and we don't have enough time. So if you see a list and you don't know a band, check out their Bandcamp and check out some tunes, because I guarantee that you're going to find a lot of bands that you don't know about that you love.
Yeah, I've discovered lots of bands at Gonerfest.
Yeah.
Overnight Lows being one of the,
So much
still
fun.
one of my favorite bands, one of my favorite records on Goner.
Yeah. And it's 33 bands. Not every band is going to be your favorite band. It's, go take a break and, clear your head and gear up for the next one that's interesting to you. The lineup has just always worked, and like I said, Railgarten is big enough that you can go sit over under a tree somewhere and still hear the music, and not, if you don't want to be in the pit for that
Sure.
set,
Play some volleyball.
Exactly. So overall, it's really fun. You don't have to be a super fan to have a great time.
No, I can attest. It's a cool hang.
Yeah.
And it's a different, it's a very friendly hang. People are very open, and, the out-of-towners especially are, mixing it up with locals and asking questions about what to do and what to see. It's a good time.
Yeah. We're really lucky that the people that come here really want to be here, and yeah, they enjoy Memphis, and, we're always trying to get more Memphians out. We've had some people, I won't name names, but some people that are just kind of, dismissive of Goner as sort of a insider thing. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to Gonerfest, haha, whatever. And then they show up and they're like, this is great. I should have come years ago. So,
any MCs this year? Are you doing MCs?
oh yeah, we've got all kinds.
I didn't
of
see them on the
MCs.
poster unless I'm blind.
No, sorry, MCs. We've always got MCs and DJs that we're excited about. This year we've got WFMU coming down to simulcast stuff, and we've got DJ Terry T is going to be one of our MCs. We had her before WFMU agreed to come down, but
So you're telling me that I can just listen to Gonerfest for free via
Yeah.
WFMU?
you can. It's not everything, and it's not exactly live, and you miss out on all the live stream stuff. Once you listen to a couple of the sets on WFMU, you're going to want to check out the live stream, because it's so exciting
It's
and
just
fun.
a taste.
Yeah, it's just
First
a
taste
taste.
is free.
But yeah, I think it's gonna get, WFMU's huge, and they have great listeners, and we've had a crew of WFMU DJs that have been coming down to Gonerfest the last few years. I mean, over the years all the years we've done it. So it just seemed like a natural thing when they came to us and proposed this. So we're looking forward to that.
Did Rollins ever work out? I know that you guys had Rollins on the books at least once, maybe twice. Did that ever work out?
We had him on the books once. We talked to him a couple years, but he's up in Nashville now, so it's not such a big trek for him. And it turns out he couldn't do it. His schedule was mangled. It was sort of one of those things where his name was sort of big enough that might have been kind of disruptive in a way.
Him hanging out at Railgarten all day, I could see, would people bug him?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I tend to go to, try to worry about the worst possible scenario. The fact that he wanted to do it, and I have no problem with him coming. I mean, his thing was all positive. He's a big supporter of all these bands. If you ever listen to his radio show, he's playing Optic Sync, and he's
a big Alicia Trout fan.
Yeah, Alicia's stuff. And so, yeah, he's totally in the scene and everything. It's just that, people that don't know anything about Gonerfest know Rollins and Black Flag, and, it's just kind of a weird balance. So that didn't work out. Not saying that we might not revisit it down the line. We'd love to have him down, maybe for another event or something. But yeah, what other MCs we got? I'm blanking too. Let me check my handy website. It's got all the MCs on it. And
that website, is that gonerfest.com?
Well, gonerfest.com is the website. Sometimes browsers don't like gonerfest.com, but you can get there through the Goner website. So.
Which is goner-records.com.
Correct. Well, we've got JB, he's DJing. JB Boyd from WYXR is DJing. We've got Billups Allen, who's a Goner employee and author. We've got Lumpy Martin Meyer from St. Louis, Lumpy and the Dumpers, DJing. Lucy from Big Clown and Twinkle Van Winkle are MCs on Friday. Twinkle was around in the 90s as a drummer for the Jenny Jeans, played Goner's opening in 2004, and we're excited to have her back. Lucy sings for Big Clown, and she was an MC last year and did so good that we had to have her back. We got DJ Terry T from WFMU, who has MC'd before as well at the High Tone. Ryan Haley, who is internet sensation and has been MCing for us a couple years now. He's great, and we've got Eric G from Nashville, who was a singer for the Golden Pelicans. He is MCing on Sunday.
They've played Gonerfest, haven't they?
Yeah, they were fantastic as well. He's a great front man. He'll be a great MC. So the MCs are kind of little bonus. Keep the show rolling, and sometimes you get a little bit of star power out there.
Well, I think we've pretty well dissected Gonerfest 21. Is there any other label or store business that we should dive into?
Just look for the new split system and the Pi record coming out. The Pi is kind of garage rock, kind of funky, no wave stuff, kind of psychedelic, so kind of danceable. I think it's if people hear it, it could be a pretty big record. So check that out. That's kind of what we're focusing on right now, and trying to survive the festival and all that.
You playing any music personally?
True Sons of Thunder are going to play an after party on Friday night with David Nance and Mode Sound and who else? James Arthur's.
Does that make it an official after party?
No, there are no official after parties.
Have you guys been tempted to put your hands into that too, to curate the after parties as well as the festival itself?
We end up helping those things. Like, people say, I want to play an after party, and people are like, oh, we need bands for the after party. So we are in the middle of that somewhat.
That's kind of what Riot Fest does, is that not only do they have the festival, but then they also make a really big deal out of the after festival shows as well.
Yeah, it's we've ended up in the middle of it more than we really wanted to. Most of them are put together by labels, kind of putting their stuff and then other bands that are sympathetic together. But this year I ended up helping out the High Tones show, which is directly opposite the True Sons of Thunder show, which is directly opposite some show at DKDC, which is great too. So, it's really, the way I look at it is the more the merrier. There's 1,000 people in town that want to go to a show. Maybe not that much for the after parties, but there's plenty of people to go check out these after shows, and they are fun because they are after everybody's been partying a little bit and in smaller venues, so it's a little bit different experience than the Gonerfest. It's awesome.
How are Richard and the rest of the TSOT gang doing?
Oh, fantastic. We played with, who did we play with? At Growlers, we had a show. Who was it? Cosmic Psychos. And we killed it. I mean, somehow, if you're out there in a band, don't practice. It doesn't help. Just show up for shows, and it'll turn out fine. That's TSOT's words of advice.
I think we'd be remiss if we didn't at least say the word Oblivions since you're sitting here. Is there anything to say about the Oblivions as a project?
Oblivions are done. We're all doing other stuff, and we did the Oblivions.
They say never say never.
Then we stopped, and then we did the Oblivions again, and I think the Oblivions are done. So hopefully you had a good time
festival came
enjoying the Oblivions.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So I guess let's get into one last round of Gonerfest plugs. Gonerfest.com.
Gonerfest.com, 26th through the 29th.
At
Memphis,
Railgarden?
Tennessee, at Railgarten. Tickets available. Individual tickets are available.
Golden passes?
Golden passes, $150 for 4 days, 33 bands. Totally worth it. The cheapest part of your trip will be the ticket. And, Airbnbs and hotels in Memphis are cheap. Booze is cheap. Food is great. Yeah. And so come on out and see us in Memphis.
Cool. Well, I'll get in my plugs. I'm doing a show at the Memphis Listening Lab October 11th. Thank you, Engineer Eric, for being here. Thank you to the Subteens for the theme music. And backtothelight.net is where you can find more episodes. Thanks. Eric Friedl, thank you.
Thank you.